flipping through the newspapers, switching through multiple news channels, exploring different websites and online mediums for relevant news? Keeping up to date with important news is not only time-consuming but also requires meticulous upkeep of notes for thorough revision. With a limited period in hand and abundant resources to study from, do not let current affairs come in the way of your prelims success. Join the PT 365 program by Vision IAS and advance in your preparation for current affairs. Starting on 9th January at 5 p.m., this 20-day course offers comprehensive coverage of 1 year of current affairs in 60 hours. Join for improved knowledge with complete coverage of the Hindu, Indian Express, PIB, Economic Times, Yojana, Economic Survey, etc. Doubt-clearing sessions and mentoring for thorough knowledge. Access to Sandhan personalized test with 25,000 plus questions. Access to live and online classes for flexibility in timing. It's time to devote your energy to smart learning and not running. Enroll today and excel in UPSC prelims with a strong command of current affairs.
Hello and welcome to this edition of News Today. Without delay, let's have a look at the headlines first. Army launches mission to rescue miners trapped in coal mine in Assam. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change notified Environment Relief Fund Amendment Scheme 2024. US working to remove Indian entities from its entity list to strengthen nuclear partnership. Union Ministry of Tribal Affairs writes to Government of Madhya Pradesh on implementation of Forest Rights Act 2006. Global Water Monitor Consortium releases Global Water Monitor 2024 Summary Report. Prime Minister highlighted pivotal role of ONDC in revolutionizing digital commerce. In a tragic incident, 9 workers have been trapped in a flooded rat hole coal mine in Umrang Sao, located in Assam's Dima Hasao district near the Meghalaya border. The Indian Army has launched a rescue mission to save the miners, who became stranded after water flooded the mine, cutting off all escape routes. This incident once again brings a spotlight on the hazardous practice of rat hole mining, which has been banned but continues to persist in parts of the region. Rat hole mining involves digging narrow tunnels, usually 3 to 4 feet high, where workers, who are often children, enter and extract coal. The horizontal tunnels are often termed rat holes, as each just about fits one person. It is mostly practiced in Meghalaya. The consequences of rat hole mining are far-reaching. To begin with, it leads to water contamination and soil degradation. Moreover, the practice is linked to child trafficking, as children are often employed in these mines under exploitative conditions. The dangers for workers are immense, with a constant risk of cave-ins or flooding due to the unstable structure of the tunnels. Additionally, the emission of harmful gases like methane and sulfur dioxide creates serious health hazards, causing respiratory illnesses and other long-term health effects. Rat hole mining, despite being banned, continues to thrive due to a combination of natural and governance-related factors. To begin with, natural factors play a significant role in the persistence of this practice. Thin coal seams make rat hole mining more economical than open-cast methods. Additionally, the difficult terrain and high cost further discourage the use of advanced drilling methods. On the governance side, tribal land rights protected under the 6th schedule of the Constitution complicate enforcement. Under this provision, landowners are considered the owners of the minerals beneath their land. This has led to the belief that the Coal Mines Nationalization Act of 1973 does not apply to these mines, allowing local landowners to continue mining activities with minimal oversight. In terms of its legal status, the National Green Tribunal, or NGT, banned rat hole mining in Meghalaya in 2014, citing its unscientific and unsafe nature. The Supreme Court later upheld this ban, emphasizing the severe risk posed to workers and the environment. Despite this, the practice persists due to the economic dependence and challenges of enforcing the ban effectively. In a significant development, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, or MOEF and CC, has notified the Environment Relief Fund Amendment Scheme 2024, bringing crucial changes to the existing framework. The notification amending the Environment Relief Fund or ERF Scheme 2008 has been issued in exercise of powers conferred under Section 7A of Public Liability Insurance Act or PLIA 1991. Notably, Section 7A of PLIA provides for the establishment of Environment Relief Fund, which is utilized for providing immediate relief to victims of accidents involving hazardous substances. Let's look at the key amendments to the ERF scheme. To begin with, the administration of the ERF has been shifted to the central government, ensuring centralized control and accountability. Furthermore, the Central Pollution Control Board or CPCB will replace United India Insurance Company Limited as a fund manager for a term of 5 years starting January 1, 2025. In addition, the disbursement process will see significant improvements. The fund manager, in consultation with the central government, will develop and maintain an online portal to facilitate smooth and transparent disbursement. The funds will be dispersed as per the orders of the district collector or the central government. Moving on, the scheme also emphasizes the investment of ERF funds in public financial institutions and savings accounts to ensure the timely availability of resources when needed. Moreover, a key focus of the amendments is the restoration of environmental damage caused by hazardous substances. The fund manager is now required to earmark funds for restoration of damage caused due to manufacture, processing, treatment, packaging, storage, transportation, use, collection, destruction, conversion, and transfer of hazardous substances. Finally, to ensure financial transparency, the accounts of the ERF will be audited by an independent auditor appointed by the central government. The auditor will be selected from a panel approved by the Comptroller and Auditor General. Alongside the amendments to the ERF scheme, the MOEF and CC has also notified the Public Liability Insurance Amendment Rules 2024 under the provisions of the PLIA 1991. These changes aim to strengthen the liability framework for accidents involving hazardous substances. First and foremost, the rules now allow individuals with a direct and substantial connection and interest to affected public property to claim compensation for its restoration. Additionally, the amendments permit the utilization of ERF funds for environmental damage restoration. Most importantly, the insurance coverage limits have been significantly enhanced. The coverage now stands at 250 crore rupees for a single accident and 500 crore rupees for multiple accidents, ensuring better financial support in case of large-scale disasters. In summary, these amendments represent a significant step toward improving the governance and utilization of the Environment Relief Fund. Moving on, in a move aimed at bolstering its nuclear partnership with India, the United States is working to remove certain Indian entities from its entity list. The list, which restricts unauthorized trade in items that could potentially support terrorism or weapons of mass destruction or WMD programs, has been a long-standing point of contention between the two nations. This development could pave the way for revitalizing the Indo-US Nuclear Cooperation Agreement of 2008. Let's take a closer look at the background of the Indo-US Nuclear Cooperation Agreement. The foundation of this partnership was laid in July 2005 with the introduction of the 123 Agreement, named after Section 123 of the US Atomic Energy Act of 1954. This agreement marked a historic milestone by ending a 30-year US ban on nuclear trade with India, which had been imposed following India's nuclear weapons test and subsequent sanctions. The agreement enables US businesses to sell nuclear fuel, technology, and reactors to India, thus opening new avenues for cooperation. In return, India made several commitments, including expanding international safeguards on its nuclear facilities, adhering to international nuclear and missile export guidelines, and maintaining its voluntary moratorium on nuclear testing. The Indo-US nuclear deal is significant for several reasons. Firstly, it acknowledges India's strong non-proliferation record and its history of implementing voluntary safeguards on its nuclear program. Secondly, it encourages India to accept international safeguards on previously uninspected nuclear facilities, thereby promoting transparency. Moreover, the agreement recognizes India's adherence to Nuclear Suppliers Group or NSG export standards, even though India is not a formal member of the group. Notably, India is a member of other multilateral weapon and technology export control regimes, such as the Missile Technology Control Regime, the Australia Group, and the Wassenaar Arrangement, which further underscores its commitment to global non-proliferation norms. Despite its potential, the implementation of the agreement has faced several challenges. A major hurdle is India's 2010 Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act, or CLNDA, which mandates compensation for victims of nuclear disasters. This provision has created tensions with US suppliers who are concerned about the extent of their liability. Additionally, India's decision not to sign the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, or NPT, has raised concerns among some stakeholders, further complicating progress in this partnership. In conclusion, the removal of Indian entities from the US entity list could mark a turning point in the Indo-US nuclear partnership. By addressing key challenges and fostering mutual trust, both nations stand to benefit from enhanced cooperation in the nuclear energy sector, which holds a promise of strengthening their strategic and economic ties.
In an important development, the Union Ministry of Tribal Affairs, or MOTA, has written to the government of Madhya Pradesh, directing it to examine the alleged violation of forest rights of communities under the Forest Rights Act FRA 2006 in and around the Virangana Durgavati Tiger Reserve. To give you a clear understanding, let's begin with an overview of the Forest Rights Act 2006. This act, officially known as the Scheduled Tribes or STs and Other Traditional Forest Dwellers Recognition of Forest Rights Act 2006, was passed by Parliament with the objective of recognizing and vesting forest rights and occupation in forest land to forest-dwelling scheduled tribes and other traditional forest dwellers. The FRA provides for two main types of rights. First, the individual rights. These include rights of self-cultivation and habitation. Second, community rights. These cover rights like grazing, fishing, and access to water bodies in forests, habitat rights for particular vulnerable tribal groups or PVTGs, the community's right to intellectual property and traditional knowledge, and the right to protect, regenerate, conserve, or manage any community forest resource for sustainable use. Moving forward, the Act emphasizes the critical role of the Gram Sabha, which holds the authority to initiate the process of determining the nature and extent of forest rights. On the other hand, state governments are tasked with implementing the FRA. They constitute state-level monitoring committees, district-level committees, and subdivisional-level committees to oversee the implementation process. Now, let's turn our attention to the Virangana Durgavati Tiger Reserve, where these alleged violations have taken place. This tiger reserve is located in the Sagar, Damoh, and Narsinghpur district of Madhya Pradesh. It encompasses the Naura Dehi Wildlife Sanctuary and the Virangana Durgavati Sanctuary. What makes Naura Dehi unique is that it encompasses two major river basins of India, the Ganges and the Narmada. The vegetation here is primarily tropical dry deciduous, with teak as the predominant species. When it comes to fauna, the reserve is home to diverse wildlife, including nilgai, cheetal, sambar, rhesus macaque, panthers, and Indian wolf. This move by the Union Ministry highlights the need for strict compliance with the provisions of the Forest Rights Act to safeguard the rights of forest-dwelling communities. Moving ahead, the Global Water Monitor Consortium has released its 2024 summary report summarizing the state of global water cycle, identifying key trends and analyzing major hydrological events that are shaping our planet's water resources. The water cycle, a crucial process that moves water in all its phases, solid, liquid, and gas. It begins with evaporation, where water from oceans, lakes, and streams turns into vapor due to heat. Additionally, transpiration from plants contributes to water vapor in the atmosphere. This vapor then undergoes condensation, cooling to form clouds. The next stage is precipitation, where water falls back to the earth as rain, snow, or other forms of moisture. Once on the ground, some water flows as surface runoff, collecting in rivers, lakes, and oceans, while a portion seeps into the ground, replenishing underground reservoirs known as groundwater. Now, let's take a closer look at the key findings of the report. In 2024, water-related disasters caused over 8,700 deaths, displaced 40 million people, and inflicted more than $550 billion in the damages worldwide. One such finding highlights a strong regional contrasts in soil water. South America and Southern Africa are experiencing extreme dryness, while West Africa is seeing wetter than usual conditions. Additionally, lake and reservoir water storage has declined globally for the fifth consecutive year, raising concerns about water availability. Moving ahead, let's examine the growing impact of climate change on the water cycle, which has profound consequences. Climate change has intensified the water cycle by up to 7.4%, leading to more severe weather events. For instance, warmer air holds more water vapor, 7% more for every 1 degree Celsius temperature rise. This increase in moisture is amplifying precipitation intensity, duration, and frequency, contributing to severe storms. Droughts are becoming more frequent as well. As temperatures rise, more water evaporates from soils, drying them out and increasing drought risks. In fact, extremely dry months are becoming increasingly common in recent decades. Sea level rise is another significant concern. Thermal expansion and melting ice are contributing to rising sea levels, which in turn leads to ocean acidification, severely affecting marine life. Now, let's discuss the transformative journey of the Open Network for Digital Commerce, or ONDC, which has been revolutionizing digital commerce in India. A public online network designed for merchants and customers, ONDC aims to interconnect and enable seamless interoperability between e-commerce platforms. Now, let's begin with understanding what ONDC is all about. ONDC operates under the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, or DPIIT, in the Ministry of Commerce. Launched in 2022, it was established as a non-profit Section 8 company under the Companies Act of 2013. The primary aim of ONDC is to democratize the Indian e-commerce space. The founding members of this innovative initiative include the Quality Council of India and Protein eGov Technologies Limited. By utilizing open source methods and protocols that are independent of specific platforms, ONDC creates a level playing field for sellers, buyers, and MSMEs across India. It also enhances price discovery and provides consumers access to a wider range of service providers. But why is ONDC necessary? Well, in India, there are over 12 million sellers engaged in selling or reselling goods. However, only 0.125% of them have ventured into e-commerce. ONDC bridges this gap, opening doors to more opportunities for sellers. Key investors in ONDC include SBI, ICICI Bank, NSE, and others. Now, let's talk about its key components. Firstly, ONDC operates through a decentralized architecture. Unlike traditional e-commerce platforms, it does not own or operate services. Instead, it acts as an enabler of interconnectivity. Secondly, it uses open protocols based on open standards, ensuring that any seller or buyer platform adhering to these protocols can participate. Lastly, ONDC defines specific roles such as buyer applications, seller applications, and logistic providers, ensuring clarity in its functioning. Moving forward, let's explore how ONDC has revolutionized e-commerce over the past 3 years. ONDC has achieved impressive milestones, recording over 150 million transactions facilitated by more than 200 network participants. That platform supports 7 lakh sellers and service providers from over 600 cities and towns across India. Consumers from more than 1,100 cities and towns have transacted through this network. In addition, more than 7,000 farmer producer organizations representing 35 lakh farmers are now on board ONDC, benefiting from its open structure. The platform also extends support to small businesses through the MSME Team scheme, empowering 5 lakh SMEs, where 50% of the beneficiaries are women-owned enterprises. Indeed, ONDC continues to reshape the digital commerce landscape in India, from connecting sellers and buyers to ensuring equitable opportunities for MSMEs. ONDC exemplifies the vision of an inclusive e-commerce ecosystem.
As we conclude today's main news, let's have a look at some quick updates. Indonesia has been admitted as a full member of the BRICS bloc of developing economies, announced by the group's presiding country, Brazil. Indonesia has the largest population and economy in Southeast Asia. Ministry of Power marks 10 years of Ujala scheme, initially named Domestic Efficient Lighting Program. The aim of the scheme is to promote energy efficiency at residential level by providing affordable energy-efficient LED bulbs, tube lights and fans to households. The Banihal bypass has been completed. The pass is a 2.35 km road section of NH44 in Jammu and Kashmir. NH44 is the longest national highway in India. It stretches 3,745 kilometers, connecting Srinagar in the northern tip of Jammu and Kashmir to Kanyakumari at the southernmost point of India. A nascent galaxy was discovered in formation at the end of the tidal tail of the NGC 3785 galaxy. This galaxy is known to possess the longest tidal tail discovered so far. Tidal tail is formed due to gravitational forces when two galaxies interact closely, essentially pulling material away from each other during a close encounter. ISRO achieved a milestone as cowpea seeds aboard PSLV C-60's CROPS experiment sprouted leaves in space within 4 days. It was ISRO's first biological experiment in space and part of compact research module for orbital plant studies developed by the Vikram Sarabhai Space Center. Researchers at Columbia University have revealed impact of selective silencing on disease outcomes. According to the study, every cell in the body except sperm and eggs contain 2 copies of each gene, one inherited from each parent. However, certain cells can exhibit a bias, selectively inactivating one parent's copy of a gene, that is, selective silencing. Idol of Saint Narahari Tirtha has been discovered in Simhachalam Temple, Visakhapatnam. Narahari Tirtha was a prominent Dvaita Vedanta philosopher, scholar and saint of the 13th century. He was a disciple of Madhavacharya, the proponent of Dvaita Vedanta philosophy. Supreme Court said a foreigner should not be allowed to leave India if he or she is required to answer a criminal charge. The Foreigners Act 1946 empowers the central government to regulate the entry, departure and presence of foreigners in India, including issuing orders for their arrest, detention or confinement. The Union Ministry of Steel launched the second round of PLI or Production Linked Incentive Scheme for Specialty Steel, termed as PLI Scheme 1.1. The objective is to promote manufacturing of value-added steel grades, helping Indian industry mature in technology and move up the value chain. Union Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying launched India's first organic fisheries cluster in Soraing district of Sikkim. It aims at development of organic fisheries and aquaculture in Sikkim under Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, which aims to bring about the Blue Revolution through sustainable development of the fisheries sector in India. Before we sign off, let's challenge your understanding in today's installment of Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you found this episode of News Today engaging. For the solutions to the quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description.